Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coastal Living. We're going to learn a lot today. We're going to explore our options when it comes to changing our Medicare plan. We're visiting with a Texas author who's helping us find our voice, and we're sweating in 7 with Jocelyn and Kendall. Stick around. It's going to be a great show. You're watching Coastal Living.
Celebrating everything the Coastal Bend has to offer.
This is a great place to live, so let's talk about it.
Get the scoop on the latest trends, popular fashions, hottest music, exciting events, and so much more.
Come on, let's have some fun.
This is Coastal Living on KZTV. Now your host, Clarissa Serna.
Woohoo! Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very excited. We have an incredible show, but first we want to thank you all for joining us. We love our job.
Every day we talk about how much we love it. We even start the show. Before the show starts, we're laughing as we come on stage.
Which is great to get a good laugh in before you really start your day.
Exactly.
I think, right? But one thing we love about our job is that we're able to feature really great things happening around the Coastal Bend. And we want to remind you, last week we had some guests from downtown Corpus Christi on the show who let us know there's an opportunity for local artists to submit their art because they're going to be painting more of the downtown electrical boxes, which if you're familiar with downtown, you see that beautiful artwork. It's so simple, yet it brings so much life to downtown Corpus Christi, so
Absolutely.
much character. So use your imagination. Today is the last day to submit your art. You can head over to their Facebook page for more details. But I was kind of thinking, I wish I had more time because I am an artist, or was in the past, haven't really been practicing. But I was like, well, what would my concept be? Because, things have been done already, like the bridge and the dolphins and this and that. So what would I do? And I'm thinking, there's so many ways you could go with that, though. And it doesn't have to be like the cliche Corpus Christi that you think, just
right.
What makes you think of Corpus Christi? So I challenge someone out there, if you're an artist, or even if you don't consider yourself an artist, to submit. I think it's really who gets the most votes anyway. So if you have a lot of friends, or if you tag us, we'll even help you out to make sure you get votes. How about that?
I love that idea.
Right?
And this makes me think of my dad, because my father is also an artist, and he is incredible. So it's just moments like this. I'm like, Dad, why aren't you here?
I know. Well, he doesn't have to be. He can go ahead and post it on their Facebook page.
Yes, he has plenty of beautiful artwork that I know he can definitely do this with. So
absolutely.
I'll talk him
Big
into
opportunity. That. And guys, I am absolutely 100% the person that says, the things that you fear the most, the things that seem like the biggest obstacles are the ones that help you feel most successful and are the most rewarding. So if this is something that scares you or you feel like you're not good enough, please give it a shot. You don't know until you try. I'm a living proof of that. And I'm sitting here today talking to you all on Coastal Living. So please give it a shot, and we really will be rooting for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're halfway through the week, and it's spring break.
Woo!
And we want to encourage all of you that are going out to the beach, please be careful, especially with those rip currents. Those can be extremely dangerous. And you can break the grip of the rip several ways. If you're caught in a rip current, do not fight the current. I'm going to strongly encourage that. Swim out of it and then to shore. And if you can't escape, float or tread water. So, growing up, I would love going out there. I would love going out to the water. And I was always told if it's taking you, just kind of, I know you're kind of in panic mode, but just kind
instinct,
of, yes, you kind of want to let it take you for a little bit, and then don't want to fatigue your body as you're trying to swim out of it. So definitely be aware of that. We've had so many tragic,
and riptide is different from undertow. It's not going to pull you under, it's going to pull you out. So just let it do its thing. Try to stay cool, calm, and collected.
Exactly.
My biggest thing is the kids, because for me, I'm like, the water is cold, no thank you. The kids don't care. It's like they don't have skin that feels temperature.
Right.
Because I see kids in the coldest water. So
they can handle it a lot better than we can.
Yeah, so if you are out there with them, of course, make sure they have, something to help them stay afloat. Make sure you're out there with them, keep a close eye. Or just have them avoid the water if they're not strong swimmers. I mean,
of
better
course.
safe than sorry.
Yes. Yeah. When in doubt, don't. That's what I always thought. Yeah.
When in doubt, don't do it.
That's right. That's right. I've always told myself that. If you're contemplating something, then kind of maybe refrain from
and
doing
sometimes it's about listening to your gut. The world has a weird way of telling you things sometimes before they happen. So speaking of following your instincts and being safe, Jeopardy, which is many of our favorite shows, right, will not tape their upcoming episodes before a live studio audience. Can you guess why?
Of course.
Coronavirus. Yeah. They fear the spread from coast to coast, and it's particular concern due to the health of Alex Trebek, which makes sense. He's the 79-year-old host of Jeopardy, has been fighting stage 4 pancreatic cancer since last year. So as much as we're all sort of struggling with like the over glamorization, if you will, of the coronavirus and understanding the seriousness of it, and I don't know why everybody's running out and buying toilet paper, but just chill out. I do understand these circumstances because my father had open heart surgery earlier last year, and we are taking extra precautions. If anyone in our family has any remote signs of the flu, we're like, stay away from grandpa, you stay away. So you want to make sure if you have any sensitive illnesses like that, especially to sort of keep yourself away from anybody who you might be exposed with. And with a live studio audience, who knows?
Of course,
So,
you just
yeah.
never know.
Yeah, we back you up, Jeopardy. So, I mean, it's okay. You want to take precaution. You want to wash your hands and things like that. Just don't like totally freak out. It's
No.
going to be okay. And be aware because you could carry the virus without any symptoms for a few days and still be able to transfer it to other people. So just do your part. Everybody just do your job. Wash your hands, stay sanitary, use Lysol around the house.
Exactly.
God willing, we'll be okay.
Overthinking it too just kind of puts those thoughts and ideas in your head that, oh my goodness, I have it or I'm going to get it. Don't think of it that way.
Yeah, just do what you have to
exactly.
keep everything clean. That's it.
Yep.
Take a bath. Okay, guys, now we do have a great show coming up for you all today, a little movie madness if you plan on hitting the theaters this weekend. We're getting sweaty with Jocelyn and Kendall, plus we're visiting with South Texas Sleep Apnea Center. And what I'm excited about, we're finding our voice with an author who's actually from Texas. She's speaking about her experiences to others to help others. So first, we're going to learn about an opportunity, speaking of health, that you have to adjust your Medicare to ensure that you're getting the best coverage possible when we return on Coastal Living.
Now, back to Coastal Living on KZTV.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Coastal Living. Now, you may have thought that you had to wait until next year's annual enrollment period to switch your Medicare plan if your current coverage is not meeting your needs. That is not true for local residents. So, joining us today from Dallas is Dr. Rhea Joseph. She is a primary care physician with WellMed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so I have a lot of questions. This is interesting, and it's my first time hearing about having an opportunity to alter your insurance. So while the Medicare annual enrollment period has ended, we do understand that there are rules that allow local residents to change their coverage at any time of the year. First and foremost, why would we want to switch?
So the biggest reason that most people switch to another Medicare Advantage plan is so that they can get a higher rated plan. The government assigns each Medicare Advantage plan a star rating from 1 to 5. 5 being the highest rating that a plan can get. Now, how the patients benefit from this is that if the plan gets 5 stars, they can switch into it at any time during the year.
Interesting, which benefits both the person and the company, right? So I had no idea there was actually a star rating to these organizations. Tell me, how does a plan achieve a 5-star rating?
So there are a few ways that these plans get evaluated. One is how well are we treating our patients through preventive care. So this includes no-cost screenings, immunizations, tests. Now, this is my favorite part. So I became a doctor so that I could promote preventive medicine. If we diagnose people with breast cancer and colon cancer during the earlier stages, they tend to have much better outcomes. Another way that the plan gets rated is how well we take care of chronic medical conditions. And we have so many patients out there who have diabetes, heart disease, respiratory illnesses. So it's very important that we take care of them. And then, of course, just the overall patient satisfaction.
Absolutely, and of course it is very important to get early detection. That way we can prevent any fatalities from these types of diseases. Now, how do you find out about 5-star plans in the area? How do we get more information on that?
Sure. So we've made it easy for you. There's a website, wellmed365.com. Now, this has links to Medicare.gov as well, and it'll direct you to information about 5-star rated plans in your area and other plans that have other ratings that are available to you.
Wonderful. And so are there any other ways that people can change their plans during the year without having to wait for that annual enrollment time?
Yes, so most Medicare patients may be able to switch to a 5-star plan anytime during the year. If you're eligible for both Medicare and Medicaid, you can switch to a dual eligible special needs plan anytime during the year. And it's also important that I mention that if you have a Medicare supplement plan and you switch to a 5-star plan, you can always switch back during the year.
Okay, very interesting. I had no idea you could do a dual. I'm learning so much from you. I didn't know you could do a dual plan, which I find very interesting. And it's evident that diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cancer are at an all-time high. What is the reason for this?
So in terms of why it's at an all-time high, there's many reasons, but one of the big ones that I will touch on is our diet and our exercise habits. You know, we're not outside as much as we used to be. We're eating a lot of foods that are processed and has saturated fats, and Corpus Christi specifically also has plans that are available to them that pertain to chronic medical conditions. So if you have diabetes or heart disease, you might be able to find a plan that specifically meets your needs for this.
Wonderful. And does WellMed support sort of programs to help people with preventative things, getting them moving and getting them on a healthy diet?
Yes, so in terms of, I can speak for my clinic, you know, we have an educator on staff. We make sure that patients, because for everyone it's different.
Yes.
So some people might know how to eat right, but they don't know how to exercise right. And some people may know, you know, exercise is pretty straightforward, but I don't know what exactly it is that I'm supposed to be eating. And we start from the, you know, from the beginning, starting from grocery shopping. So we have those resources available. My clinic specifically also has, you know, classes that they offer every month so that we can teach them in person rather than just handing out brochures, you know?
Exactly. Well, it's wonderful to know that we have all this information available to us, especially to be able to come and get one-on-one education on things like diet and exercise, which are crucial and so important to preventing these fatal diseases. Tell me, where can we get more information about your program?
So I would say the easiest place is wellmed365.com because it has links to the Medicare.gov. The most important thing is to find a plan that fits you. And these websites will take you to links that, teach you all about 5-star plans and other highly rated plans. And that's the first step.
Wonderful. Well, this was a very informative interview. I appreciate you taking the time to sit with us. Hopefully our viewers at home got a thing or two, and now that you know you can enroll with this 5-star company, then you can look into the dual program and see what works best for you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everyone, we learned a lot and we're not done yet. Coming up next, we have more awesome segments right here on Coastal Living. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching Coastal Living on KZTV, the only lifestyle show made in the Coastal Bend for the Coastal Bend.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Coastal Living on KZTV.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, our next guest has a passion for sharing her own story of childhood and domestic abuse in order to help other victims of abuse to find restoration and healing. And, of course, their voice, right?
Yes.
Please welcome author Manette Morgan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Clarissa, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're ecstatic, and you're all the way from Colorado, so
Yes.
she's traveled quite a ways to come visit us today. And I love your mission, I love your topic, and I love that you've gone so far out of your way because you're so passionate about it to help people who are going through things you've been through. So tell us about your story. What's your why for this book?
My why for this book is I am a survivor of emotional, sexual, and physical abuse as a child and a young woman. And I think I really just wanted to help people. I really, really wanted to make something available to everyone, no matter where they come from. So that's why I wrote the book. And I kind of did a little twist on a self-help book like we were talking about.
Sure.
I actually have written it's part memoir, it's got a lot of exercises, it's got a lot of guidance.
Nice.
To kind of lead the survivor toward a path of recovery.
I like that because I feel like as you're reading, not only are you reflecting on yourself, but you're relating to somebody, you, who wrote the book, that's kind of like sharing the story, like, okay, she's here with me as I go through this book and go through this experience. Now, I know personally I've experienced psychological abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. A lot of us have been through it, and it seems so, you don't want to talk about it. But we need to. It needs to be more common. We need to share this with people because it is very common. How rampant is abuse in our society?
Oh, it's crazy. 1 in 3 women will experience abuse. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience some kind of sexual abuse before they're 18. And before the Me Too movement, 90% never told. And it's kind of like you were saying about the people need to speak out.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, the Me Too movement's been great, I think, for people.
It has.
But I want to take it one step farther. I want to start Me Too, hashtag Me Too Part 2.
Yes.
Which is all about healing. And
Absolutely.
that's part of the book and part of my overall accomplishment, which is to stop the cycle of abuse in our society.
Absolutely. It's one thing to find the courage to even address it, to report what you're going through to the authorities or to someone who could do something about it, but it's another thing to recover afterwards, which can be a long and sticky process. Some people never recover, and it translates to other parts of your life, right?
It does, it does. It affects, you have coping skills, it affects behaviors, it affects, you know, unhealthy relationships in your life. And I think that's what sets my book so far, you know, apart. I think another reason is when I was starting my own journey, I had great therapists and great incest survivor groups and stuff. And they would tell me how I'd gotten here, why I had behaved this way, why I accepted these unhealthy relationships. But no one gave me the answers of how to heal, how to put my life back together. And I feel like, you know, that's really what I've done in this book, is I offer those answers in these pages. I offer that guidance of, you know, let's heal those relationships. Let's have healthier relationships, and all the exercises and guidance that you need to make that journey a little easier than just out there trying to figure it out on your own.
Absolutely. And there probably isn't one generic answer for everyone. It is about reflecting on yourself, on your experiences, and finding that answer within yourself. Now, you suggest in your book that there is a way to put a stop to the cycle of abuse. How so?
I feel strongly that, you know, there's a few components to that. One is just, let's just be honest and admit how prevalent abuse is in our society, like we were speaking of. And then it's understanding abuse. Like you said, you know, physical and sexual abuse are pretty obvious, I think. But the emotional abuse, there's sometimes, you know, some gray areas in there. And if
Very
that's
gray.
all you've ever known growing up or something, you may accept it as the normal.
Absolutely.
So I think for survivors, we really have to start leading them and educating them, and also the abusers. Sometimes they're not even aware of the actions that they're carrying on or passing on. But once we empower each survivor, this is the great part. They start healing and they become empowered. The next step is they'll break the cycle of abuse in their own life. And with that, they'll break the cycle of abuse in their children's life.
Exactly.
And then their communities and their families. And that's really what my goal is. And in fact, you can go to my website at MinetteMorgan.com and join my movement to stop the cycle of abuse in our society.
Awesome. Okay, so you want to make sure and head over there to find out more and to kind of get a little sample of what you might find in the book. What I like about your book is that it's available everywhere.
Yes,
So you have
everywhere
the
books are
Audible version. You have it in all stores. In fact, you're going to be at Barnes & Noble's this weekend, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock on Saturday. So guys, if any of you have, you know, you want to come talk to me or meet me or talk about a subject, I am so open and ready to discuss it with you and share, or maybe I can answer a couple of questions, and I'll be there signing books and just speaking out for every survivor out there, because that's my ultimate goal.
That's great. And it really is something that's very personal to people, but I think when you know you can relate, which is why I like that you include your own memoirs, it becomes a little bit easier. You're a little more vulnerable to admitting and sharing what you've been through. And sometimes just verbalizing it on its own is a huge step, or writing it down and burning it. There's so many different ways to kind of get something out of your system, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned that it is a cycle, and it's true. If your child grows up seeing you involved in domestic or emotional abuse, what do they think is the norm? Exactly what they saw growing up.
Exactly.
Sometimes they can want the opposite and grow up that way, but it's really hard to grow up with that strength if you don't see it in your own parents and your own mother or father, because sometimes the daddies are the ones that are getting emotionally or physically abused, right?
It is. It goes. There's no economical limits. There's no gender limits. I mean, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think it is important. It's really important, like you said, because one of my biggest goals for me to get out of my relationship was I did not want to see my son or daughter grow up and become a victim or an abuser.
Yeah, and it's almost more, not easier, but more inspiring when you do have children, because it's something that's an inherent love that you have for them.
Yes.
And it's a commitment. You have to show them what you
Right.
want for them to grow up and see. So it sort of
Exactly.
makes it a little bit more, like I said, not easy, but it's a sure decision to make, right? Versus when it's just yourself and you're like, oh, but I love him or her, or I don't want to hurt this person or that person. And it's not just in romantic relationships. This is when it
No.
comes to bullying in schools, in
Exactly.
families. Sometimes it's your own mother or father who just give you a hard time about who you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes your relationship, and as you mentioned, emotional abuse, especially with people who display narcissism, it's very difficult to identify that or just wonder if it's you and if you're doing something wrong to make them act that way. So it's too easy to blame ourselves.
It is. And like you said, with the narcissism thing, they just have a way of turning things around and manipulating us. And especially if that's all you've ever known, that was my situation. All I had never known was abuse. So it was really easy for someone to manipulate me and convince me that, I didn't know what I was doing or thinking, and I know that sounds ridiculous.
It becomes your norm.
But it
and
becomes
you don't
your
know
norm.
otherwise. And it's so crazy because I've been in that box and I've been outside the box, and it's so amazing to finally recover from those experiences, although they do stay with you forever. But to be on the outside and say, oh my gosh, like I get it because I used to be there, but there is a way out, there is another side to it. And I want you to share a little bit about maybe the steps that we take or what helped you become a survivor.
I think the biggest thing was, I feel like the biggest problem with any survivor is losing their self-worth. And if you could boil it down to one thing, that's what I would say. And for me, it was regaining my self-worth. And even in like one of the first few chapters, I take you on a journey to what I call the big three. And it's all about regaining your self-acceptance, your self-love, your self-respect, which is your self-worth. And that it creates your self-empowerment, like we talked about earlier. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing in the book that helped me overcome my own adversity. I wish I would have done it first. I can't say when I was doing on my own healing journey I did, but I teach you in the book to do it first.
Amazing.
And I think it's a great foundation.
It absolutely is. It's very important. Like you said, some of us get lost in that mix, comparing ourselves and feeling like we're not enough. And the first step is understanding that you're more than enough. You are perfect.
Yes.
And you deserve the best.
Yes.
So you have an opportunity to visit Manette this Saturday at Barnes & Noble starting at 1 p.m. Guys, it's free to the public. She wants to sit down and even talk to you. You can share your experiences. You can ask for advice. But most importantly, you want to grab a book and get it signed because this is the book right here that could change your life. Whether or not you've been a victim, maybe it's somebody that you know and love that you want to help, this book can help you get there. So we encourage you to check that out. You can, if you don't like to read or you travel a lot, maybe you can get the Audible version. Whatever it might be, guys, check it out and make sure you find Manette Morgan on her website, ManetteMorgan.com, or on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook and Instagram.
And Instagram, awesome, which I'm sure you're constantly sharing these ideas.
Yes, I do. I constantly do. I have blogs and I write articles. So podcast, everything.
Great. All right, so get in touch with Manette, follow her, and she will help you get back on track and become more of a survivor from anything that you've lived through and need to overcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye.
All right, this might even help you sleep better. Well, and Jocelyn's going to help us do the same thing. She's visiting with South Texas Sleep Apnea Center when we return. Hey you! Don't go anywhere. You're watching Coastal Living. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Coastal Living on KZTV.
Hey there, everyone. So snoring and sleep apnea can cause more than just the feeling of fatigue and sleep issues. So in honor of National Sleep Awareness Week, I'm here at South Texas Sleep Apnea Center to learn more about these important topics. Mr. and Mrs. Vela, thank you so much for having me today. The first topic I want to go over are what are the signs and symptoms of sleep apnea?
Well, that's a great question, and there's three main symptoms, okay? Signs and symptoms. Snoring, high blood pressure, and excessive daytime sleepiness. Those are we call those the big three of sleep apnea. So if any of you are out there listening, think about that.
A lot of the people who suffer with sleep apnea and snoring are either overweight or obese. That ties in with body mass index. What is BMI?
BMI is a body mass index, and that tells you the amount of fatness you have within your body. It helps you determine like what possible things can be affected on your body mass index. And it's your weight divided by your height. So you do that body mass index, you can Google it up and look on the internet and get the calculator. You put your weight, your height, give you a number. And you're either underweight, and you're not. You're normal, and you're not. Or you're overweight, or you're obese. And there's what's called the 60-40 rule. 60% of people are overweight. 40% are obese. You look at me, for example. I'm 5'7", 175 pounds on a good day. So my BMI is 27.4. So I'm overweight. I know it. Now, I snore. I have a little bit of sleep apnea. I have sleep apnea. So it's a very common thing, a big factor. Over 80% of people that have sleep apnea snore and are overweight.
So do you have any devices that you provide for people that suffer with snoring or sleep apnea?
Okay, sure. Well, sleep apnea has been around forever. 80% of people out there are undiagnosed. And the gold standard for many, many years was called a CPAP, a CPAP machine. It's like a Darth Vader look, like, what was the name of the movie?
Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs, big old mask. That was the primary thing. And most doctors are so busy, they'll see 60 to 100 patients a day. And CPAP. We're doing what's called mandibular advancement devices called MAD. And what those do, they're dental devices like orthodontic appliances, and they slide your jaw forward, open up your mouth a little bit, and we get about a 90%, 95% compliance rate. So that success rate compared to a compliance rate for a CPAP of 20%, it's much, much better. I've been doing this strictly for about 2 years now, and I like it so much because it actually helps people tremendously.
Why do you encourage your patients to come here to not only save their lives, but also save their marriage?
Man, the questions you're asking are phenomenal.
Good question.
Because people, they go to the doctor and they have sleep apnea and they get a mask. And they don't know what the mask is for. What does it do? They have a sleep test done? They don't even know what the number is. And what I promise you at my office is I will spend at least 20, 30 minutes with you, your husband, your spouse, your friend, your pet, whoever hears you snore. I will visit with them for 30 minutes, have one face-to-face consultation. I'll answer all your questions and tell you know what, we can help you or we can't help you. A very important factor that people get sleep tests done is a diagnosis, and you get an AHI number. And what that does, you get a certain number, and that tells you either moderate, mild, or severe. And everyone has a category. With the changing times, medicine, medical insurance now, they cover a CPAP and a MAD device, a same or similar device. And we're in America right now, and the patient has the right to choose, do I want to try a MAD that'll work for me, or do I want to try a CPAP machine? So ideally, we treat mild and moderate cases first. If they're severe, they can try the CPAP. After they fail, or they sign an affidavit that says, I'm not going to use it, we can use a MAD device.
Is there any other important information that you would like for our viewers to know about South Texas Sleep Apnea Center?
Well,
We're now seeing Medicare, and we bill most insurances, and we also have payment plans.
and those are big pluses because I said earlier, heavier people, older people, and a lot of people have Medicare, and that's the big one. And it helps people come in the door, and we follow systems. We work with medical insurance as best we can. We have a payment plan, and if nothing else, like I said, the Vela Davis has been around since 1980 here in Corpus Christi. You can come see us. You're gonna see a trusted name. I'm gonna spend 20, 30 minutes with you, and you get it or not, I just want to help you. That's it.
Thank you both so much for having me. We learned so much from you.
Thank you.
You're watching Coastal Living on KZTV. Get the scoop on all things local by following us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be right back on Coastal Living. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Coastal Living. Now it's time to flex those brain muscles and help you remember what this day meant in history. So here are some exercises for you. In 1302, the characters Romeo and Juliet were married this day, according to William Shakespeare. So maybe take some time to read Romeo and Juliet today, show the kids, take it back. Also in 1969, Levi Strauss started selling bell-bottom jeans just in time for Woodstock. Oh yeah! So if you really want to celebrate and give people a reason to talk, you can quote Romeo and Juliet all day wearing bell-bottoms, and they'll all be wondering what's wrong with you. In 1989, the TV show Cops, what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. Yeah, they made their television debut, and if you don't realize already, the documentary series went on to become one of the longest running shows in television history. Kind of like 6 Degrees of Separation. I feel like as long as it's been going, we all probably know someone who is on Cops, one way or another, right? Okay. In 1997, Paul McCartney, a former member of the most successful rock band in history, the Beatles, was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to music. Can you imagine what an honor that would be to be knighted because you're such an awesome musician? goals. All right, guys, that's what happened on this day in history. Be sure to brag about it to your friends, good water cooler talk, or an opportunity to teach your kids about where we've come from. All right, coming up next, get ready to break a sweat. We have Jocelyn and Kendall working out, so get your sneakers and your rag and some water. You're gonna need it. We're sweating in 7 when we return on Coastal Living.
You're watching Coastal Living on KZTV, the only lifestyle show made in the Coastal Bend for the Coastal Bend.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Coastal Living on KZTV.
Welcome back to Coastal Living, everyone. So we had to do a quick outfit change because we're going to get up and get moving. I have Kendall here with me, who's going to be my workout partner, and today we're going to concentrate on getting rid of that stubborn fat and love handles that can be difficult to get rid of. So what makes our workout even better today is that we're actually going to be standing. We don't need any equipment, and everybody can try it out. And we encourage all of you to get up and get moving with us. It's going to be a standing ab workout for today's Sweat in 7 segment. So let's get started. We always want to start with some warm-up, so let's do some high knees for 30 seconds, okay? So we're just gonna simply stand in place, pick up our knees like so. Keep your body straight, keep that core nice and tight. We're doing this for 30 seconds. And if you wanna really get your heart rate up, you can even just do some of these and just stay in place. I love the way Kendall is, her form is perfect. She's nice and straight like so, and keeping her core nice and tight. Like I said, you want to do this for 30 seconds to get that heart rate moving. Now, for the first workout that we want to do, we're going to do some toe touches. Like I said, we're doing these ab workouts. And with these toe touches, we are going to get your right leg with your right arm out. You're simply going to kick, and you're going to make sure you get your toes up in that hand, okay, like so. And I'm just going to let you know right now, you're going to feel this in your entire body, not just your abs. And so the moderate version, while Kendall's working on that, I'm going to show you the moderate way to do this. So you want to just get your knee and simply let it hit your right hand like so. Whoo-wee. How are you feeling, Kendall? Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good. All right, now let's switch legs. All right, get your left arm out, left leg up. Get those toes up there, make sure it hits your hand, or if you're doing the moderate version, left knee into your hand. 30 seconds, guys. Doing great, Kendall. So she is the professional kicker, so that's why I have her doing the difficult workouts. All right, so next up we have some pike kicks. These are some of my favorite workouts. This is really a cardio workout too. You're gonna get your hands up above your head. You're going to kick your leg up just like we're just doing. Get your right leg up, and you're gonna kind of put your arms over your foot. There you go, Kendall, just like that. And if it's difficult to get your leg in full extension, get that knee up, just like we were just doing. So we're gonna do each leg for 30 seconds once again. All right, so I'm gonna do the knee ups, so it'll be the moderate version. All right, now let's switch legs. How are you feeling, Kendall? All right, let's get going. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna do those knee ups. Whew. Very good. Now, take a look at Kendall's form. She has her leg going right up there. Her body, her posture is great. Keep your core nice and tight, okay? That's very important during these ab and oblique workouts, which we're about to get started on. So with these oblique twists, you're going to be in your standing position, of course. You're going to have your left elbow up here, your right elbow on the opposite side. You're going to get your right knee, simply come in just like so. 30 seconds on each side. Really gets your heart rate up, really focuses on your side abs, your obliques. 30 seconds on each side. Whoo-wee. How are you feeling, Kendall? Good? Awesome. All right, now switch sides. Right side now. Everybody out there is looking great. Keep going. Whew. Now, if you don't get your elbow to hit your knee, that is completely okay, as long as you stay in this position, this form. All right, so next up, we're gonna focus on those love handles. We're gonna do some waist pinchers. Get your arm up, move to the side. You're going to simply move your body to the right, also picking up your right leg, just like so. I love these. These, you can get some great results, especially if you do these regularly. Now, this is a quick little workout. I'm gonna call it, you're gonna get quick, really fit. And if you do these regularly, like I said, you'll definitely see that waist shrinking. We're also going to do our left side, same thing, okay? All right, let's go. Whew. Whew. Here we go. All right. Now, we're going to end in this position, okay? We're going to do a chair pose. So what this is you're gonna be in a chair position. Now, for those of you that have difficulties with your knees, I'm also gonna show you a moderate position as well. So we're gonna be in a chair position as if we're sitting down. Put your arms above your head like so, and then you're simply gonna go to your right. And then you're going to switch positions after 30 seconds. 30 seconds with each side, okay? So this really increases your heart rate. You're in that squat position, so you definitely feel it in your quadriceps. Kendall right here is in the perfect position because you don't want to go too low because you do not want to really affect your knees or be in the wrong position to where it's really going to be difficult for you to really not get that result that you're looking for. So as Kendall is doing that, whenever you wrap up, you're wanting to do a deadlift twist. So with deadlifts, that's really a leg workout. But we're gonna do today, we're gonna focus on our abs. So we're gonna have our hands above our head, just like so. We're going to go down, take a right, go to the right, and then down again. Straight, and then down, and then to the left. All right, you guys, quick workout. You're gonna get great results, get your heart rate up. That's all that matters, is that you're getting that movement in, and we wanna encourage all of you to do this regularly. Get up, get moving, and you're gonna get great results like so. We have lots more coming up on Coastal Living when we come back.
Want to be featured on Coastal Living? Post a pic on our Facebook or Instagram. We'll be right back on Coastal Living.
Now, back to Coastal Living on KZTV.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, it is spring break for some area schools, and if it isn't beach weather, there are some new movies coming out this weekend, and we came up with a list of the ones that we think are worthy of a night out. Grab your popcorn, baby. First up, Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel. After he and his wife are murdered, Marine Ray Garrison is resurrected by a team of scientists enhanced with nanotechnology. He becomes a superhuman biotech killing machine. Bloodshot. As Ray first trains with fellow super soldiers, he can't recall anything from his former life, but when his memories flood back and he remembers the man that killed both him and his wife, he breaks out of the facility to get revenge, only to discover that there's more to the conspiracy than he thought. This movie is rated PG-13 for language, intense sequences of violence, and some suggestive material.
I have to say, I love the suspenseful voice that you
Thank
put
you.
in.
I'm working on it.
It makes me want to see this movie
My trailer
even more.
voice, yeah.
So this next movie is a tearjerker. I've seen the preview several times, and I have teared up quite a bit. It's called I Still Believe, starring KJ Apa from CW's Riverdale and Shania Twain, who I love, from the makers of I Can Only Imagine, comes the true life story of Christian music megastar Jeremy Camp. Jeremy's remarkable journey of love and loss proves there is always hope in the midst of tragedy, and that faith tested is only faith worth sharing. This movie is rated PG for thematic material.
All right, now enough with the sappy stuff. It's time for The Hunt, starring Hilary Swank and Betty Gilpin. In the shadow of a dark internet conspiracy theory, super relatable, a group of elites gather for the very first time at a remote manor house to hunt ordinary Americans for sport. What? But the elite's master plan is about to be derailed because one of the hunted knows the hunter's game better than they do. She turns the tables on the killers, picking them off one by one as she makes her way toward the mysterious woman at the center of it all. This movie is rated R for strong, bloody violence and language throughout. All right, so this one's not so much for the kiddos, but it looks pretty heavy.
It does.
I'm into it.
I'm
Which one
into
would you
it
pick
too.
out of the three?
Probably the Jeremy Camp one I was just
Okay.
talking about, just because I've seen I Can Only Imagine, and that one was incredible, so I would probably go with that one. What about you?
You know, I love my Shania, but
I love
I'm into
her.
this. I'm into this hunt thing. I want to see
That's
people
a
get
good
down
one,
and
too.
dirty. All right, y'all. Now we hope you make it to the theaters. If you do, let us know which one was your favorite or which ones are worth checking out. Maybe there's some new ones coming up. All right, we're wrapping up the show. When we return, you're watching Coastal Living.